Good morning, student. Yesterday we have discussed the Menger's model of value-added transformation of resources. So, entrepreneurship it is influenced by the society by creating the new enterprises, and at the same time, what influenced by the society to recognize the needs and fulfill them through the management of resources. So we have to manage the resources. So uh, Menger's model of value-added transformation of that he has given the priority to these different activities. So the grain in the field has very low values. Grain in the field has very low values, and when this bulk grain from farmer has low value. Okay, but there are intermediate steps are there in the transformation that the grain is transformed into the flour. Flour mill is there. Mill flour for baker has higher values, and then this flour is used in the bakery for making the bread, and this bread is having ready. The bread is ready for sale, which has very high value, and this deliver baked bread in the highest value. Okay, so in this way, the Menger's model identified the intermediate points of transformation, that is harvesting wheat, then we have to grind the grain, making the bread and deliver it with opportunities for adding the value to the original resources. So uh, the entrepreneur who invents the way to harvest the grain more efficiently or to grind the grain into the flour more rapidly adds more value to the product, because the consumer benefits from more bread at a lower cost. Okay, so when the grain is there in the field of the farmer, it has a lower value, but when that grain is grain into the flour, and the flour is used for making the bread, and therefore it will add value to the that grain. So this was precisely uh, what occurred when the Cyrus McCormick invented the mechanical reaper in the 1931. So he has invented the mechanical reaper. So we used to see the farmers, they reap the wheat with the help of the hand. So when they reap the wheat with the help of the hand, they can cut the wheat of an acre in a day. Only 1 acre they can cut with the hand in a day, or 2 acre of land they can cut in a day. But with the help of this McCormick reaper, the farmer could reap a dozen acres a day, means 12 acres they can cut with the help of this reaper that McCormick invented. And in 1960, sorry, in 1860s, they were reaping. They they were reaping almost 100 acres of land. So the McCormick, he has invented the mechanical reaper in 1931. So at that time, before the invention of this mechanical reaper, the farmer, they used to cut their wheat with the hands, and they can cut a acre or two in a day. But with the invention of this reaper, they could reap dozens acres a day, and by the 1860, they were in position to they were in position of reaping 100 acres a day. So reaper not only revolutionized agriculture, but it also inspired the new industries in the farm implementation, grain processing, and food distribution. So this is how we can reaper the wheats. Now, so in the 19th century, the entrepreneurs were the captains of industries. So in 19th century, the entrepreneurs, they were captains of industry, the risk takers. They were also the risk takers. Now, though they are in business, they are always risk taker. If you see the people around you who are the entrepreneurs, they are the risk takers because they have to take the risks in their life. If you do not take the risks, you cannot become the entrepreneurship. That is the characteristics of entrepreneurs. The individuals who inspire the wealth, and they are the decision makers. They are the decision makers. They take the decisions. They are the decision makers, and the individuals who aspire to wealth. They are the individuals who aspire wealth. They are the individuals who aspire the wealth and who gathered and manage resources. Who gathered and manage resources to create a new enterprises. To create new enterprises. Okay, so the Menger's model of subjective enterprises flourished in the United States. He has developed the model, and that model flourished in the United States, and American adventures were creating the events that links the change between the raw resources and the useful products. The raw resources and the useful products. Raw resources and useful products. So what was the raw resources? That is a grain in the field of the farm, and this is a bread which is there, and the grain which has very low value, the grain which was produced by the farmer, which has a very low value, but the bread which was produced in any bakery which has a very high value. So this is the event that link the change between the raw resources and useful products. Then an interesting picture began to emerge as huge, often embarrassing fortunes were made. The connotations of entrepreneur change from captains of industry to an elusive character who garner profit at the expenses of others. Okay, so next is the entrepreneurship as a process. Entrepreneurship as process. So I will, there is another Australian economist revived the concept of entrepreneurship when he joined Harvard University, and his work was published in the United States in 1934. He is Joseph Scoumter. He wrote a series of economic articles and treatises between 1911 and 1950 that specifically addressed the entrepreneurships. Scoumter described the entrepreneurship as a force of creating creative destructions. So entrepreneurs as a force of creative destruction. So the Scoumter described entrepreneurships as a force of creative destructions, whereby established way of doing the things are destroyed by creating the new and better way to get the things done. Means why is defined the creative as a force of entrepreneurships as a force of creative destructions, because we have to discredit the things, we have to destruct the ways, the established ways, because there are already established ways are there. And whenever we have to become the entrepreneurship, we have to destruct that established way of doing the things, and we have to create the new and better ways to get the things done. So entrepreneurship is often a subtle force challenging the order of society through the marginally small changes, but in Skomter's views, it can be extraordinarily powerful, like the changes caused by the McCormick's Reaper or the transformation of the crude oil into the energy resources. So, in retrospect, it is important to recognize that entrepreneurship as an economic concept has suffered a concept of obscurity. So, most executives will not have the heard of the Mengers, Cantillon, most know of the Smith, Adam Smith, but few will recognize Mill or say. Today, the resurgence of entrepreneurship in higher education has not come from the discipline of economics, but those who teach small business managements or who have instituted new courses in entrepreneurships. So during the early 1970s, these were often the professors in managements, marketing or engineering. Okay, so defining the entrepreneurships. Now we'll define what is the entrepreneurship is there. So we do not have one indisputable definition of entrepreneurships or entrepreneurs. However, the Skumter provides us the framework for understanding both in terms of a process. So entrepreneur seeks, in Skumter's words, what is the entrepreneurs? To reform or revolutionize the pattern of production. To reform or revolutionize the pattern of production by exploiting an invention by exploiting an invention, or more generally an untried technological possibility plus possibility for producing new commodity or producing an old one in a new way, or producing old one in a new way by opening up new source of supply of material, by opening up a new source of supply of materials or a new outlet for products. So the entrepreneurship is defined essentially consists in doing the things. What is entrepreneurship? It is the doing things that are not generally done in ordinary course of business routine. Okay. So according to the Skomter's entrepreneurship seeks, he seeks what he seeks? To reform or revolutionize the pattern of production by exploiting an invention, or more generally. What is invention? So innovation is nothing but invention into commercialization. So we have to commercialize the whatever we have invented. So there are always two entrepreneurships are there. The small medium enterprises are there, and another is the innovation driven entrepreneurships is there. So the innovation is nothing but invention into the commercialization. Invention means we have invented something, but if you do not commercialize that, then that will be no, there will be no invention, there will be no innovation. So, and by commercializing we can make profit, and that is known as innovation. So the idea comes in your mind, but that idea we have to transfer into the innovation. And innovation is nothing but whatever we have invented and we have commercialized that. And by commercializing, we can earn the profit by selling your product in the market. That is what we can call it as a innovation driven entrepreneurships. So there are two types of entrepreneurship. The small medium enterprises, they are focused on the local market. They are focused on the local market. They are called as the small medium enterprises, SME. Small medium enterprises, entrepreneurships. They are focused on the local market. Okay, and they offer service and service business. Sometimes they also offers service. They also offers the goods in the local market, and their cash flow in that market will be like this. Cash flow, we can say, with time will be increased like this. So with the time their business will be there and there will be the cash flow like this. But in case of the innovation driven entrepreneurships, that is called as the IDC. This is the innovation driven entrepreneurships. So innovation driven internship, they are looking for the global market. They never look for the local market. The innovation driven entrepreneurships, they always look for the global market, and therefore the cash flow for this innovation driven entrepreneurship is like this. The cash flow for this with the time will be like this. So they have to invent from their own. They have to first they have to spend their own money. That's why it is showing negative. And once they produce their product and they are ready in the market, and then there is a cash flows, and the cash flows is exponentially in their life. So this is the innovation driven innovation driven entrepreneurships. So the sculptor did not equate the entrepreneurship inventor with inventors, suggested or suggesting instead of an inventor might only create the new product. What inventor does? Inventor might only create a new product, whereas the entrepreneur will gather resources, organize talent, and provide leadership to make it commercial success. That is called as the entrepreneurships. Okay, so what is the innovation? Innovation is equal to invention into commercialization. So innovation is equal to invention into commercialization. Means inventor, you cannot call the inventor as an entrepreneurship unless he do not commercialize his product. So suppose the Thomas Edison has invented the light, okay, but he is not entrepreneurships unless he has developed the electrical industry for the sale of that light. Okay, so Whatever you invent, that should be commercialized. Then and then there is innovation, and it can be called as a entrepreneurship. So we cannot equate entrepreneurship with inventors, suggesting instead that inventor might only create a new product, whereas the entrepreneurships will gather resources. What he will do, entrepreneurship will do, he will gather resources. Entrepreneurs will gather resources. He will organize talent. Whatever the talent is there for preparing that product, he will organize that talents and provide the leadership to make it commercial success. And he will also, at the same time, he will provide the leadership to commercialize that product, to commercialize to a commercial success. He will provide leadership to commercial success. So, according to the Peter Drucker, who described the entrepreneurial role as one of the gathering and using the resources. One of the gathering and using the resources. What the entrepreneurs they are doing, they are gathering the resources. Resource may be the money, it may be the main, it may be the material. They are gathering these resources and they are organizing talent. They also use the means, they have the talent and they prepare their production. They prepare their product and they sell in the market by providing the leadership to make it commercial success. So, role as one of the gathering and using resources, but he added that resources to produce results must be allocated to opportunity rather than the problems. So in Drunker's view, entrepreneurship occurs when resources are redirected to progressive opportunities and not used to ensure administrative efficiency. Therefore, the evolution of the concept has gathered many definitions, but perhaps a recent one by the writer Robert Ronstadt captures its essence. For our purpose, we shall use Ronstadt definitions as entrepreneurship. So, what the Robert Ronstadt captures the definition of entrepreneurship according to the Robert Ronstadt. The entrepreneurship is a dynamic process. What is called entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is a dynamic process of creating incremental wealth, of creating incremental wealth. Incremental wealth can be created just by the entrepreneurships, not by just doing the job. If you have to create the incremental wealth in your life, you have to act as an entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is a dynamic process of creating the incremental wealth. This wealth is created by individual, not by the group. This wealth is created by individuals. Individuals who assume the major risks in terms of equity, who assume the major risks in terms of equity, than time or career commitment, career commitment of providing the value for product. providing value for product, or we can say it is a service. Okay, the product or service itself may or may not be the new or unique, but value must somehow be infused by the entrepreneurs by securing and allocating the necessary skills and resources. Okay, so who is the entrepreneurs? Next question is come in your mind. Who is the entrepreneur? To whom we can call it as an entrepreneurs? Who is an entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur? So, what a definition in mind? We still have the trouble in identifying the entrepreneurship. To whom we can call it as the entrepreneurs? Finding them or determining what they do. Okay, so is the local gas station owner an entrepreneur? The person who is having the gas station, can you call him as an entrepreneur? Or the realtor, or the butcher, or the franchises, computer retailers? Are these entrepreneurs in corporations, in schools, in governments? There is no short answer to these questions. There are no formal guidelines for classifying entrepreneurs. There is no entrepreneurial licensing procedures and no evidence of professional status. Okay, so what are the traits versus characteristics? So, in an effort to understand entrepreneurs better, researchers have sought to define traits common to a majority of individuals who start and operate new ventures. John Hornday of the Babson College was among the first to use the surveys and intense interviews to develop a composite list of entrepreneurial traits. So what he has done, he conducted some survey, and he has also conducted intense interview to develop the composite list of the entrepreneurial trait. What are the qualities? So then he summarized these traits, and although this descriptive list is supported by impressive data, it has the singular restrictions of relating only to highlighting successful entrepreneurs. There is no way of knowing how these traits relate to a majority of entrepreneurs. For example, some people may have the creative talent to generate new ideas, but lack of ability to organize resources. Some people, they have the idea, they are creative, they can generate the ideas, but they cannot commercialize their ideas, and therefore they lack the ability to organize resources, because creating the product we need to organize resources. And other may have compelling need to achieve but lack of the resourcefulness to create the new ventures. So many of these individuals with a limited profile based on the traits will start a new business and succeeds. So many of the entrepreneurs who become the entrepreneurs, they their profile is based on the traits. Whatever the traits the entrepreneurs has, they have they have the mention of their traits in their profile when they start a new business and they succeed. Others with a majority of the traits may start a new business and fail. So it is not like that the person who is having more traits of the entrepreneurs, he will start the business and succeed. So there is no guarantee. So opponents of the traits approach also reverse Hornby's logic and ask whether those among us who do not choose to be entrepreneurs have similar traits. Okay, so we'll discuss these characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. Who is the successful entrepreneurs? So these are the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. Characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. What are the characteristics? You are also eager to hear what are the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. Who will become the successful entrepreneurs in his life? So that characteristics is first characteristic is the self-confidence and optimistic. The person who is having the self-confidence and optimistic. Okay. So the entrepreneurs, he is always having the self-confidence that he has the confidence that he can do whatever he has thought. So that is one of the characteristics of the successful entrepreneurs. And he is also optimistic also. He is not pessimistic. He is optimistic. He has the confidence that whatever he thought, he will concise whatever he has thought. And he can make the product and he can sell in the market and he can earn the profit. That is the first characteristics of the successful entrepreneurs. Second is he is the energetic and diligent. So see, the entrepreneur, they are always energetic and diligent. The person who is energetic can only become entrepreneurs, and he is a diligent can only become entrepreneurs. And ordinary people, they cannot become entrepreneurs if they are not energetic. So what are the characteristics of energetic? The person who rise early in the morning and he do his work according to his goals and objectives and achieve whatever he has set in his goals. So that is this person is energetic. Otherwise, if you do not rise early in the morning and if you do not work as per your whatever you are set in the goals and objectives, probably that are not the characteristics of the entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs, they are always energetic, they are always eager to do the work, and there is a 24/7, they always work for their enterprises, and therefore in this way they can succeed in their life. And next characteristic is they are able to take the risks, able to take calculated risks. So the entrepreneurs, they are always able to take calculated risks. So ordinary common peoples, they are not able to take calculated risks. That's why they do not never think of becoming entrepreneurs. They always go for the job because there is no risk. When the month will over, they will get the salary, and they are happy with their salary, and they are happy with their earnings because they do not want to earn more money in their life. So the person uh, who is able to take the calculated risks, then he can become the risks. He can become the entrepreneurs in his life. And he is a creative and need to achieve. What is the another characteristic? He is a creative and need to achieve more money. And he never stops for what is getting from his life. He always he always be creative. He always creating something new, and he always need to achieve something. That is the traits of the or the characteristics of the entrepreneurs, of successful entrepreneurs. Next is he responds positively to the challenges. Respond positively to the challenges. So sometimes the people, they are not facing the challenges because uh, they think that there are the challenges and therefore they never face the challenges and they never overcome that challenges and therefore they cannot create anything in their life. So the peoples who respond positively to the challenges, who face the challenges and they overcome the challenges, these are the characteristics of the successful entrepreneurships. And he is also the dynamic leader. Then he become the dynamic leaders. That is also one of the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. Other characteristics is the flexible and able to adapt. He is also flexible. He is never rigid. Okay. He is a flexible and able to adapt. He is ready to adapt everything. Responsive to suggestions. Whatever the suggestions he get from their customers, responsive to the suggestion. The entrepreneurs, they always get the feedback from their customers, and whatever the suggestion he get from the customers, he is always respond to them. Whether the service he is giving to the customer is good or not, whether there is any problem to the service providing, he always take the suggestion, he always take the feedback from the customers, and he always responds to that, and he always make changes in their product, in their service he is providing to the customers. So knowledgeable of markets, that is also one important point. Knowledgeable of knowledgeable of market means the entrepreneurs always take the stock of the market. He never create anything. If his product cannot be sold in the market, he never produce that product. So the entrepreneurs always having the knowledge of market, means what is the need of the local market, what the local market needs, what is the need of the customers. So he has the knowledge of the market. Then he prepare the product and he manufacture the product and then he sell in the markets. So this is one of the characteristics, very important characteristics of the entrepreneurs, that he has the knowledge of the market. What is the demand in the market? What the people of Jalgaon want? What the people of the Khandesh want? See, so the entrepreneurs always have the knowledge of the market. What is the requirement of the customer? And accordingly, they take the initiative. Accordingly, they take initiative. Accordingly, they take the initiative and able to get along well with others. Able to get well, able to get along well with others. Means others should also get well. Only we should not be happy with the your service or products, but others should also get their share. So able to get along with the others, resourceful and preserving. He is always resourceful and persevering. Resourceful means there is always having resource with him. Either it may be the money, it may be the machine, it may be the material. He is the always resourceful person. Entrepreneurs, they are always resourceful person, and he is a persevering means there is a continuity in the efforts. He is continuous in his efforts. There is no lack of the efforts. Every day he takes the efforts. That is a persevering. Next is the independent minded. Okay, that is also one of the traits. Independent minded means he has his own brain. He always thought individually and he always conceive what he has thought in his mind. So his mind is independent minded and perceptive with foresight. There is a perception with the foresight what he is going to vision in the next 5 years, 10 years. Versatile knowledge. He is having the versatile knowledge and he is responsive to the criticism also. Versatile knowledge. Okay, I think only 1 minute is remain. Take the attendance and send it to my personal WhatsApp. When 18 people are there.